It's been a little while since I've done a live, and I'm gonna try and be a little more consistent with that. But I've also had some interesting stuff going on in my life lately, and it kind of got me thinking about magic and performance and perfection and grief. So right now I'm going through this experience, taking this. It's like a 7-8 week experience. One life, soul led, all in, and fundamentally it's about dissolving three lives: the public life, the private life, the secret life, and collapsing them from multiplicity of three into one life. Soul led, all in. And I knew that signing up for this was going to be interesting. And I knew that it was going to fit into a theme that I've set for myself this year, which is curious embodied integrity that I'm exploring right now in my life. I'm in this very curious space right now where I am really exploring, like, what does it mean to be in integrity in an embodied way, and getting curious about it. One of the invitations that we had was to do some kind of grief ritual around our shoulds. And this got me thinking about magic from from the perspective of that I see a lot of times in the occult world, which is there's this tendency to treat magic as kind of this cure all that's going to fix everything in your life. It's going to fix all the problems. It's going to resolve all the issues. And that if you're a really good magician, you should have your life together and have everything figured out. And I've never found that to be true. A lot of the people that I've met over the years who have been really, I'd say, amazing magicians have nonetheless not always had their lives together in a conventional way. And I think it's really relevant that we explore this idea around this myth around magic, that if you're skilled at magic, that like that you'll like have everything lined up and all the material success will automatically dial in and all this other stuff, because I don't know that that's really true all the time. And so, like, there's this myth of perfection around magic at times. Like, it's like, okay, well, you're a magician. You will be able to get your act together and make everything happen. And, like, look, as someone who's done some pretty interesting magic over the years, I will definitely say that I've been able to manifest some pretty amazing opportunities and perspectives and things that have come through. But one of the things that I've learned is that, okay, I get the result. It doesn't automatically fix everything. It doesn't automatically resolve everything. So last night I decided to do something with Imbolc. I kind of set up half the day basically as an extended Imbolc ritual. First part of it is I get home from this shadow work workshop that I had been recording, um, and I decide I'm going to make a soup, a nice solid veggie soup that feels very Imbolcy, right? Imbolcy. Like, it feels like there's just like this solidness to making a vegetable soup on Imbolc, because we look at Imbolc's that time where it's like we're still in the wintertime. It's cold. It's potentially, depending on where you are, you have lots of snow and ice and all this stuff. If you're in the northern hemisphere, if you're in the southern hemisphere, you don't have to worry about it. But we're going on the presumption here that chances are you're in the northern hemisphere if you're watching this right at this moment. Anyway, of which we do have Sheena watching. So I know for a fact that Sheena lives in the northern hemisphere. We're midway. We're midway to spring. We're midway from the beginning of winter to spring. The days are starting to get a little bit longer. It's still we're still we're still dealing with longer nights than days. When we think about Imbolc is kind of like that moment where it's like, hey, there's a little bit of light here. There's a little more light. There's a light shining at the end of the tunnel. Keep going. Keep going. You're gonna make it. I think of it from a perspective of wondering that it's a reminder of like the importance of continuing to stay on the path that you're on. Like there's a path here for you. There's a direction that you're going in. But then I also think of it as, and this is kind of where last night's inspiration for the ritual was, is that it's also an opportunity to do some really interesting work around grief. I think that one thing that I would observe about like what I see for the most part in regards to magic is that we don't really do a lot of work around grief. And like really in Western culture in general, we don't really have much in the way of acceptance around grief. For me, I decided that the Imbolc ritual, like I'm gonna make the soup. So I make the soup. Nice hearty soup. It's part of my ritual. And I'm thinking as I'm making the soup, like, what am I putting into this soup? Well, one of the things that I'm thinking is be here now. Be in the now. Because being in the now is like this point of power and presence and place as a magician. And that's what I want. I want to be in the now. That is the place where magic happens. It's in the now. It's not in the past. It's not in the future. It's in the now. Now, we may draw on the past, we may draw on the future, we may draw on other things, but it's in the now that the magic happens and that our lives transform and change. So there's that aspect. But then after I make the soup, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go and I'm going to light a candle. It's nice and dark out now. I'm going to light a candle. But before I do that, I call out the directions in the dark. I go into my ritual room and I call out the directions in the dark. I don't have any lights on. And after I've done that and I called in the space and I've called in the spirits, that's when I call in, or that's when I light the candle. And then what I did is I offered to the candle my shoulds, the shoulds that I have, the things that I'm grieving. And it was just like this really wonderful moment of like, okay, let's drop the baggage. Let's drop the perfection. Let's drop the myth of having it all figured out, because that was really the grieving that I was doing. The shoulds that I was telling myself was like, I should have everything figured out. I should be at a certain level or place of success, whatever that might be. I should be there. And the thing about the shoulds is that the shoulds they are grief, but they're also resistance. It's like resistance to what is, right? And to what could be. Because if we come back to that be here now or be in the now means we're curious about the present. We're curious about what's available to us. We're curious about what is in the world, right? And so for me, like this is part of this path of curious embodied integrity. Well, what's in the world right now? What's in me? What's in this body? One of the things that I'm really working on right now is finding my voice more, like unlocking my throat, unlocking all the ways I've shut my own voice down sometimes because I've either felt intimidated or felt like I've had to try and be like other people or whatever. And it's like, well, that's not who I am. Why do I keep doing that? I keep holding myself up to this myth of perfection, this myth of being a certain way or having certain things. We all do it at one time or another. I don't think there's any person who doesn't at some point or another in their lives have that. So here I am in this space doing this work and really just dissolving the myth of perfection and magic, the myth of perfection around my own life, grieving, letting the shoulds fall away. They're just shooting out of me. Baggage coming out, laying it on the ground, taking it out of the house, onto the crossroads. Here you go. Go out into the world. Go to where you belong, but it's not here with me. Go to where you need to be next. Because there's a lesson here. Here's what I would invite all of us to do that are watching this, whether it's live or otherwise. Here's a little exercise for you. Take a look at what your myths of perfection are and ask yourself how they are serving you and how they are also locking you up in a tower. Earlier last week, I got the tower card. I was doing a reading. I was trying to figure out some situations, and one of the cards I got was the tower card. I'm like, okay, tower card. I think at the time that I thought like the tower card was all about taking a risk and everything else. What I didn't realize is no, the tower card was really like an invitation, like get into the now, like tear down everything you think you know about this situation, about yourself, about the perfection, and just tear it down and let it come down and grieve. And I had my tower moment this weekend. I had a couple different moments where things just kind of like the walls came down, the tower came down, and then it was like, well, okay, what's left now? Turns out there was a lot left. And it was funny because it's like I think a lot of times, we treat the tower card as this kind of like this omnipresent thing that says, okay, this is what's going to happen in our lives. This is this is what's going to happen. We're going to hit a point of crisis and things are going to fall apart. And yes, that is one interpretation of the tower, but the tower is more than that. The tower is about being in the now. It's about breaking down all the walls, the stories, the things that we tell ourselves that are true in order to discover what's actually there. Sheena and I are going to have a book coming out at some point called Tower Time. We've got lots of amazing exercises and things like that. It's currently in the process of being edited along with and then we've also got the retroactive magic book. And like I think both of these books are really timely in some ways because it's like, okay, let's look at what we need to take down and let's look at where maybe we get stuck in the past. Let's look at these things. And it's a funny thing for me because like in a very real sense, like a lot of my shoulds have been around the past. Like my life should be this way, or if I had made this decision, then this would happen, or blah 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 blah. Right. And here I am. Be in the now. Be in the now. That could be one of the most important magical phrases that I ever have heard or that you'll ever hear. And I invite you to be in the now. Be in the now, present with what's there. Get curious about it. We've come to the place that we have come to because that's where we were meant to be. And by being in the now, we get the opportunity to explore what that now means and what it could be, as opposed to getting stuck on everywhere we think we need to be. Sometimes I think that in regards to magic, and I think this is kind of where this myth, the myth of perfection around magic comes into play, is that a lot of times people turn to magic because they're like, I'm desperate. I need to fix this situation. I need things to turn out a certain way. And here it is. Here's my last resort, or maybe my first resort. I don't know. But here's my moment. I'm going to use this magic and I'm going to make something happen. I'm going to change something. I'm going to get everything to line up and align, and it's going to be perfect. Right. And my experience with magic is that magic can line a lot of things up, and a lot of times it lines up with what we are ready to receive and experience, and that can be very different from what we want. And it can still lead to some amazing experiences and things. So I would urge you to look at your practice of magic as an opportunity to get curious about like is already there. What is in the now? I think that's kind of like where I'm at right now. Where I'm at right now, yeah, where I'm at because like I did this ritual last night. I did my grieving. I ripped out my hair. I didn't have any hair, but I tore my clothes. I lamented. And like here I am in the now. Here we are. Towers come down. We're in the now. The now is the way forward. And the way forward is what brings the curiosity and the discovery and all the other wonderful things that can happen if we open ourselves up to it. What are you willing to do to be in the now? That's that's kind of the question that I asked myself today. It's the question that I've asked myself yesterday. It's a question I'm going to be asking myself every day. What am I willing? What is the can I be in the now? Yes, I can be in the now. So like I find like if I start to find myself getting caught up in thought loops or regret spirals or anything like that, I can be like, no, I'm here in the now. Bring it to this moment. Bring it to here. This is where I'm at. And that's something that I think we can apply to our lives more. And then that opens up the doors for magic to come through in a different way. Because it's like, well, let's work with what is already here. One of the best things that I've learned as a magician over the years is work with what is already here. Because when you work with what is already here, it opens things up for you. All right. Well, that's it for my live today. I'm going to try and do another one later this week. Going to try and be a little bit more consistent with these. It's been on. Um, yeah. I mean, I think this is a good way to reach people a lot of times. And I like to share things. I like writing articles as well, but this is another form. So thanks for watching and let me know what answers you come up with or questions. Feel free to drop those in a comment. Take care.